solve this problem using priority scheduling. Okay, here the given processes are process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4 and process 5. Okay, we have 5 processes and its burst times also are given. Process 1 burst time is 10, process 2 burst time is 1, process 3 burst time is 2, process 4 burst time is 1, process 5 burst time is 5. Okay, and here we have given the priorities for this process. Okay, process 1's priority is 3, process 2's priority is 1, process 3's priority is 3, process 4 priority is 4 and process 5 priority is 2. Okay, here the value of priority is less means that process will be having the higher priority. Okay, if the priority value is less, then that process will have higher priority. That process will get CPU will be scheduled first for that process. Okay, here the value number 1 is less but priority is high. Okay, this process will get CPU first. Okay, here in this problem they didn't give any arrival time. Okay, if there is no arrival time, that is priority scheduling is non-preemptive priority scheduling. Okay, here we need to assume that all these 5 processes are arrived at clock time 0 itself, and order of arrival is process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4, process 5. Okay, and their respective priorities are 3, 1, 3, 4, 2. Okay, and all these processes arrived at clock time 0, right? Now what the priority scheduling will do? First, it will identify which priority is highest priority, that will be identified. Okay, here among all these 5 processes, the priority which is having the higher priority, that is process 2. Process 2's priority is 1. So it is having higher priority. So CPU will be allocated first for the process 2. Okay, and what is the burst time for the process 2? It is 1 millisecond. Okay, CPU will execute process 2 for 1 millisecond. Okay, at 1 millisecond, CPU completes the execution of process 2. Okay, again CPU will become free. Now we have the other processes like process 1 is there, process 3 is there, process 4 is there, process 5 is there. Among these processes, which process priority is high? Now 3, 3, 4, 2. These are the priorities. Among these process priorities, which process priority is high? That is 2. Okay, when the priority value is less, that will be having the higher priority. Okay, so the process 5 will get CPU. Okay, it is having the higher priority than process 1, process 3 and process 4. Okay, CPU will be allocated for the process 5. What is the burst time of process 5? Process 5's burst time is 5 milliseconds. Okay, CPU will execute the process 5 at clock time 1 and its process 5's burst time is 5 milliseconds. So 1 plus 5, it is until CPU will execute the process 5 until 6 milliseconds. Okay, at simulation at clock time 6 milliseconds, process CPU will complete execution of process 5. Okay, next after completion of process 5's executions, CPU will become free. Now which other process are waiting for the processor? Process 1, process 3 and process 4. Okay, here you can see this, the priority of process 1 and process 3 is same. Okay, if the two processes are having the equal priority, what we need to do to break this tie? We need to use FCFS scheduling. Okay, first come first serve scheduling to break this tie. Okay, process 1 also is having the priority 3 and process 3 also is having the priority 3. Okay, so we have assumed that these processes are arrived in this form, that is process 1 first, then process 2, process 3 and process 4 and process 5. Okay, if two processors are having the same priority, that is process 1 and process 3 is having same priority, for which process we need to allocate the CPU, that will be decided by using first come first serve scheduling algorithm. Okay, here we use, to break this tie, we use first come first serve scheduling algorithm. So process 1 came first to the ready queue. So process 1 will get, CPU will be allotted for process 1. Okay, at clock time 6 milliseconds, CPU will start executing the process 1. What is the burst time for process 1? It is 10 milliseconds. Okay, CPU will execute process 1, that is 6 plus 10, that is until clock time 16 milliseconds, CPU will be executing the process 1. Okay, CPU completes execution of process 1 at clock time 16 milliseconds. Again CPU will become free. Now we have how many processes? Two processes, that is process 3 and process 4 need to be executed. We process 3 and process 4 in the ready queue. Okay, so among these two, which process is having higher priority? That is process 3. Process 3's priority is 3. Okay, so process 3 will get CPU. Okay, what is the burst time for process 3? Process 3 burst time is 2 milliseconds. Okay, CPU will start executing process 3 at clock time 16 milliseconds, and process 3's burst time is 2. So 16 plus 2 at 18 milliseconds clock time, CPU will complete execution of process 3. Okay, after at 18 milliseconds, CPU will leave the, CPU will become free. Now, which process is there in the ready queue? That is process 4. For process 4, CPU will be allocated and it will execute by the CPU for, what is the burst time of process 4? Is 1 millisecond. Okay, so for 1 millisecond, CPU will execute the process 4. At clock time 19 milliseconds, CPU will complete its execution. Understood this? Excuse me. Okay, now we'll find the waiting time. How to find the waiting time? Waiting time is allotted time minus its arrival time. Here we have assumed that all the processor waiting arrival time is not given in the problem. So we need to assume it, all the processes are arrived at clock time 0. Okay, process 1 allotted time is 6 milliseconds minus its arrival time. Arrival time we have assumed it 0. So 6 minus 0, 6 is the waiting time for process 1. Okay, next process 2's allotted time is 0 milliseconds. Its arrival time is 0. 0 minus 0, it is 0 milliseconds. Next, process 3's allotted time is 16 milliseconds. Its arrival time is 0. 16 minus 0, 16 is the waiting time for process 3. Okay. Next, process 4's allotted time is 18 milliseconds. Okay. At 18 milliseconds, CPU is allotted for process 4. And its arrival time is 0 milliseconds. Okay, so process 4's waiting time is 18 minus 0. It is 18 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 4. Okay, next process 5. Process 5's allotted time is 1 millisecond minus its arrival time is 0 milliseconds. 1 minus 0, it is 0 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 5. Okay, now if you know the waiting time, we know how to find the turnaround time. Turnaround time is burst time of the process plus its waiting time. Okay, process 1's, what is the burst time? Process 1's burst time is 10 milliseconds plus process 1's waiting time is 6 milliseconds. 10 plus 6, that is 16 is the process 1's turnaround time. Okay, next we know process 2's turnaround time. How do we calculate? The burst time of process 2 is 1 millisecond plus waiting time for the process 2 is 0 milliseconds. 1 plus 0, 1 is the turnaround time for process 2. Okay, next for process 3. Process 3 is burst time is 2 milliseconds and its waiting time is 16 milliseconds. 16 plus 2, it is 18 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 3. Okay, next process 4. Process 4's burst time is 1 millisecond plus its waiting time is 18 milliseconds. 18 plus 1, it is 19 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 4. Next, process 5. Process 5's burst time is 5 milliseconds and its waiting time is 1 millisecond. Okay, 5 plus 1, it is 6 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 5. Okay, like this we can find the waiting time and turnaround time. Waiting time is nothing but CPU allotted to that particular process, that time minus its arrival time. Okay, that is waiting time. Whereas turnaround time is sum of the burst time and its waiting time is turnaround time. Okay, now we'll find average waiting time. Average waiting time is sum of all the processes waiting time divided by total number of processes. That is 6 plus 0 plus 16 plus 8 plus 18 plus 1 divided by 5 will get average waiting time, that is 8.2 milliseconds. Okay, turnaround time also sum of all the processes turnaround time divided by total number of processes, that is 16 plus 1 plus 18 plus 19 plus 6 divided by 5 will get 8 milliseconds is the turnaround time. Okay, now we'll solve another problem using preemptive priority scheduling. And the same problem we will solve with the round robin scheduling also. Yeah, take down this problem. Consider the following set of processes with the length of the CPU burst times given in this in milliseconds. Okay, here we have the processes are given as 5 processes are given, that is process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4 and process 5. Okay, these are the 5 processes and its arrival time also is given, that is arrival time for the process 1 is 0, process 2 is 3, process 3 is 4, process 4 is 5, process 5 is 5. Okay, these are the arrival time for these processes and the burst times also is given. Process 1's burst time is 7, process 2's burst time is 2, process 3's burst time is 3, process 4 burst time is 1, process 5 burst time is 3. Okay, next priority is also given here in this problem. Okay, process 1's priority is 3, process 2's priority is 2, process 3's priority is 1, process 4 priority is 1, process 5 priority is 3. Okay, here in this problem arrival times are given, burst times are given and priorities are given. Okay, and here they have asked us to solve this problem by using uh, priority scheduling as well as round robin scheduling. Okay, draw the Gantt charts illustrating preemptive priority scheduling. Okay, here we have the arrival time. Okay, we can this is preemptive priority scheduling. If there is no arrival time is given, then we need to consider it is a non-preemptive priority scheduling. What is the difference between preemptive priority scheduling and non-preemptive priority scheduling? Non-preemptive priority scheduling, once the process is allocated for the processor, the process will not leave the processor until its completion of its execution. That is non-preemptive priority scheduling. Whereas preemptive priority scheduling, once the process is allocated to the processor, CPU, if any process will come which is having the higher priority, or like if which is having the lowest burst time, okay, in shortest job first scheduling, if it is lowest burst time, that time the process which is already running in the CPU should be preempted and this new process will be allocated the CPU. That is preemptive scheduling. Okay, whereas in priority preemptive scheduling, the process which is already executing in the CPU will be preempted if a higher priority process comes to the ready queue. Okay, if higher priority process comes to the ready queue, the process which is already executing by the CPU will be preempted and that higher priority process will be allocated for the CPU. Okay, that is preemptive priority. And here they have asked us to solve this problem by using preemptive priority and round robin scheduling. And here for the round robin scheduling, they have given the time quantum, that is time slice is equal to 1 milliseconds they have given. Okay, that means 1 milliseconds every process should executed by the CPU. Okay, process 1 executes for 1 millisecond, then process 2 executes for another millisecond, process 3 will execute for another millisecond. Like that, all the process will get equal share of CPU. Okay, they have asked us to solve this problem by using preemptive priority and round robin scheduling, and compute the waiting time and turnaround time, and find out the time of which there are number of processes in the ready queue in the above scenario. Okay, maximum number of processes in the ready queue. Okay, that we need to find it. Here they have given. Okay, next, first we'll solve this using priority scheduling, preemptive priority scheduling. Okay, for that time we need to consider the arrival time. Okay, at clock time 0 we have only one process that is arrived to the ready queue. So see, that time CPU will be free. CPU will be allocated for process 1. Okay, process 1 will start executing by the CPU, and its burst time is 7 milliseconds. Okay, here process 1 will start executing by the CPU. Okay, so first process 1 will get allotted CPU. Okay, next, at clock time 3 milliseconds we have a another process. Okay, another process which is having priority is 2 milliseconds. It is arrived to the CPU, arrived to the ready queue. Okay, at clock time 3, C, at ready queue process 2 will arrive, and process, what is the priority of process 2 is 2. Okay, so process 1's priority is 3, so process 2's priority is higher than the process 1. So process 1 will be preempted from the CPU, and process 2 will get allocated the CPU. Okay, and process 2, at what time it is arrived to the ready queue, that is clock time 3. Okay, so from clock time 3 process 2 will start executing. Okay, what is the burst time for process 2? Process 2's burst time is 2 milliseconds. Okay, after executing for 1 millisecond, that is clock time 4, process 3 arrived to the ready queue. Okay, and process 3 is, what is the priority of process 3? Process 3 priority is 1 1. Okay, that is the process 2 which is running inside the CPU, its priority is 2. Process 3 which came to the ready queue, its priority is 1. Okay, process 3's priority is higher than the process which is already in the CPU. So the process which is in the CPU, that is process 2, will be preempted by the operating system, and process 3 will get scheduled for CPU. Okay, at clock time 4 process 2 will be preempted from the CPU, and process 3 will be allocated for the CPU. Okay, so now the process 3 will start executing by the CPU at clock time 4. What is the burst time of process 3? Process 3's burst time is 4 milliseconds. At after executing for 1 millisecond, here process 4 will arrive. Okay, and process 4 will arrive at clock time 5 milliseconds. What is its priority? Its priority 1 millisecond. Already which is inside the CPUs, its priority also 1 millisecond. Okay, if two priorities are same, which one we need to consider to break this tie? So we need to consider the first come first serve scheduling. So process 3 came first to the ready queue. So process 3 only will be executed by the CPU. It won't preempted because of process 4 came to the ready queue. Okay, both the process 3 and process 4 are having equal priorities. So process 3 itself will complete its complete burst time in CPU. Okay, So process 3 will execute in CPU for 7 milliseconds. Okay, at 7 milliseconds we have process 5 also will arrive, okay, at 5 milliseconds, okay, and its priority is 3 millisecond. Okay, now we have the process 1 is there in the ready queue, process 2 is there in the ready queue, and process 4 is there in the ready queue, and process 5 is there in the ready queue. Among these things, which is having the lowest priority, highest priority, that is process 4. Okay, process 4 is having priority 1. So CPU will execute process 4. Okay, now process 4 will be, CPU will be allotted for the process 4, and it will be what is the burst time of process 4? Process 4 burst time is 1 millisecond. For 1 millisecond, process 4 will be executed. Okay, now we have in ready queue process 1 with the priority 3, process 2 with the priority 2, okay, now process 5 with priority 3. Among these three process, which is having the higher priority, that is process 2. Process 2 will be scheduled for CPU. Okay, and process 2 already executed 1 millisecond. Okay, remaining 1 millisecond will be executed by the CPU now. Okay, process 2 will be allocated the CPU and it will execute for 1 millisecond. Okay, next we have in the ready queue two processes, that is process 1 and process 5. Both the priorities are same. Okay, 3 milliseconds and 3 milliseconds. If two priorities are same, we need to use first come first serve scheduling algorithm to break the time. Okay, so process 1 and process 5 will be in the waiting queue. So the in this first process which came to the ready queue is process 1. So process 1 will get CPU will be scheduled. So process 1 will execute its remaining burst time of 4 milliseconds in the CPU. Okay, so process 1 will execute it in the CPU for clock time 13 milliseconds. Next CPU will be allocated for the process 5. Okay, what is the burst time of process 5? Process 5's burst time is 3 milliseconds. Okay, at clock time 16 milliseconds, CPU will complete executing the all the processes. Okay, this is by using preemptive priority scheduling. This Gantt chart we have drawn. Understood, right? Now we need to find the waiting time. How to find the waiting time? It is allotted time of the process minus its arrival time. Okay, so the process once, what is the allotted time is 0. Okay, minus its arrival time is 0. Okay, so 0 minus 0 is 0, plus process 1 is allotted again. Okay, that is at clock time 9 milliseconds. Okay, and 9 minus process 1's preemptive time. Okay, when the process 1 is previously preempted from the CPU, that is 3 milliseconds. Okay, 0 plus 9 minus 3. Okay, we'll get 6 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 1. Understood, right? How do we find the waiting time? If the process is allotted again to the CPU, so allotted time minus its arrival time plus last allotted time minus its previous preempted time. Okay, its last allotted time of process 1 is 9 minus its previous preempted time is 3 milliseconds. Okay, if there is any previous to that, if there is any allotted time, that also we need to add. But here the process 1 is allotted 2 times CPU. Okay, so both the 2 times allotted times we need to calculate here. Allotted time minus its preemptive time. Okay, here the process 1 is allotted at clock time 9 minus its process 1's preemptive time is 3. Okay, 9 minus 3, it is 6 milliseconds. Okay, now we'll see for the process 2. Process 2's allotted time is how much? Process 2 is allotted at clock time 3 milliseconds. What is the arrival time for the process 2? Process 2's arrival time is 3 milliseconds. 3 minus 3 is 0 milliseconds plus what is the next allotted time for the process 2? Process 2 next allotted at clock time 8 milliseconds minus its previous preempted time. Okay, 8 minus 4 is 4 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 2. Understood this? Next, process 3. Process 3's allotted time is 4 milliseconds. And what is the arrival time of process 3? Process 3 arrival time is 4 milliseconds. 4 minus 4, it is 0. Plus, if there is any next time allotted time for the process 3, process 3 is not allotted again. Okay, so we need to find the waiting time for the process 3 is allotted time minus its arrival time. Okay, allotted time for the process 3 is 4 milliseconds minus its arrival time of process 3 is 4. 4 minus 4, 0 is the waiting time for process 3. Next, for process 4. Process 4's allotted time is 7 milliseconds minus its arrival time. Process 4's arrival time is 5 milliseconds. Okay, 7 minus 5, it is 2 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 4. Okay, next process 5, its allotted time is 13 milliseconds minus its arrival time. Arrival time of process 5 is 5 milliseconds. Okay, uh, 13 minus 5, it is 8 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 5. Okay, next we have we need to find the turnaround time. How do we find the turnaround time? Turnaround time is burst time plus its waiting time. Okay, burst time for the process 1 is 7 milliseconds plus its waiting time. Waiting time is 6 milliseconds. Okay, 7 plus 6, it is 13 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 1. Next, for process 2's burst time is 2 milliseconds plus its waiting time is 4 milliseconds. 2 plus 4, 6 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 2. Okay, next for process 3, burst time is 3 milliseconds plus its waiting time is 0. 3 plus 0, 3 is the turnaround time for process 3. Next, for process 4, burst time is 1 millisecond plus its waiting time is 2 milliseconds. So 1 plus 2, it is 3 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 4. Okay, next for process 5. Process 5's burst time is 3 milliseconds and its waiting time is 8 milliseconds. 3 plus 8, it is 11 milliseconds is the turnaround time. Now, if you know the waiting time and turnaround time, we know how to find the average waiting time. Average waiting time is sum of all the processes waiting time divided by total number of processes. That is 6 plus 4 plus 0 plus 2 plus 8 divided by 5. Okay, we will get 4 milliseconds is the average waiting time. Average turnaround time is 13 plus 6 plus 3 plus 3 plus 11. Okay, so sum of all the processes turnaround time divided by total number of processes. That is 13 plus 6 plus 3 plus 3 plus 11 divided by 5. We will get 7.2 milliseconds. Okay, like this we need to solve by using preemptive priority scheduling. Okay, we'll solve this problem by using round robin scheduling. Here, while solving the round robin scheduling, we need to consider the time slice. Okay, in this problem, they have given the time slice of 1 millisecond. Okay, consider the following set of process with the length of CPU burst time is given here in the milliseconds. Processes are given and its arrival time is given and its burst time is given, and here they have asked us to solve this by using round robin scheduling algorithm with the time slice is given as 1 millisecond. Okay, so here process 1 is arrived at clock time 0 millisecond. Okay, at 0 millisecond CPU is free, so CPU will be allocated for process 1 for how many milliseconds? It is 1 millisecond. Okay, after completion of 1 millisecond, there is no process in the ready queue. Okay, so CPU again will execute the process 1's burst time only for another 1 minute. After executing for another 1 minute, CPU will again check for is there any process in the ready queue. Okay, after completion of 1 minute, 2 milliseconds also, there is no process in the ready queue. Okay, CPU will execute again 1 more millisecond for process 1 only. Okay, that time clock time will become 3 milliseconds. Process 1's burst time 3 milliseconds will be executed by the process, by the CPU. Okay, at 3 milliseconds there is a process 2 will arrive to the ready queue. Okay, now the CPU will be allocated to process 2 for 1 millisecond. Okay, 1 millisecond CPU will execute process 2. This will represent in the Gantt chart. Okay, at clock time 0 milliseconds, process 1 arrived to the ready queue. That time CPU is free, so process 1 will be allocated for the CPU. Okay, CPU will execute the process 1 for 1 millisecond. Then CPU will check for is there any process in the ready queue. So there is no process in the ready queue. So again CPU will execute for 1 more second for the process 1. Okay, at clock time 2 also it will check for the process. Is there any process in the ready queue? At clock time 2 also the ready queue is empty. So CPU will execute the process 1 only for 1 more millisecond. Okay, at clock time 3 CPU will check for ready queue for any process is waiting in the ready queue. That time process 2 will arrive to the ready queue. Okay, process 2 will arrive to the ready queue at clock time 3. So CPU will be allocated for process 2 and CPU will execute the process 2 for 1 millisecond. Okay, after executing for 1 millisecond, CPU will check for is there any process in the ready queue. Okay, so process 3 is arrived at clock time 4 milliseconds. So CPU will be allocated for process 3 and it will execute in CPU for 1 millisecond. Okay, this process 2 will be added to the tail of a ready queue. Okay, in tail of a ready queue, which processes are there? Process 1 will join first at tail of a ready queue when the CPU is allocated to process 2. When CPU is allocated to process 2, then the tail of ready queue process 2 will be joined. Okay, when CPU is allocated to process 4, process 3 will be joined to the tail of a ready queue. Okay, then CPU will execute the process 4 for 1 millisecond. Okay, at clock time 6, there is another process also will be waiting in the ready queue, that is process 5. Okay, here two processes are arrived to the ready queue at clock time 5 milliseconds. Here that time what the how the CPU will select, break this tie process, whether to select the process 4 or process 5. That time it will check the order, like which process arrived, order of arrival to the ready queue. That is process 4 arrived first to the ready queue. Even though process 4 and process 5 both came to the ready queue at the same time, okay, in this order we have process 4 first, so process 4 will get CPU first. Okay, so CPU will execute process 4 for 1 millisecond, then CPU will execute the process 5. Okay, after executing process 5 for 1 millisecond, CPU will be given for the process 1. Okay, process 1 will here already process 1 executed for 3 milliseconds. Okay, now CPU will execute process for 1 more millisecond. So now the process 1 will be having process 1 completed execution of 4 milliseconds. Still, what is the burst time of process 1? It is 7 milliseconds. Still 3 more milliseconds need to be executed by the CPU. After executing for 1 millisecond, process 1 will be added to the tail of ready queue. Okay, next CPU will be allocated for the process 2. Process 2 will already here process 2 is executed 1 millisecond and CPU will execute the process 2 for another millisecond. Okay, now CPU completed the process 2's burst time. Okay, CPU executed process 2 for 2 milliseconds. Okay, so process 2 will be exited. Okay, process 2 completed its execution, so it will not join the tail of a ready queue. Process 2 will exit. Okay, process 2 completed its execution. Okay, now in the tail of ready queue we have another process, that is process 3. CPU will be allocated for the process 3. Process 3 already executed 1 millisecond. Next millisecond will be executed by the CPU. Okay, what is the burst time of process 3? Process 3 burst time is 3 milliseconds. Now second millisecond of process 3 will be executed. Okay, next CPU will be allocated for process 5. Okay, process 4 is having, what is the burst time of process 4? It is only 1 millisecond. So process 4 also already exited by from the execution. Okay, and CPU will be allocated to process 5. Process 5, 1 millisecond will be executed by the CPU. Next again CPU will be allocated for process 1. Okay, now how many milliseconds is there for remaining for the process 1 execution? That is 2 milliseconds. Okay, next CPU will be allocated for process 3. Process 3 is already 2 milliseconds is executed. Process 3's burst time is 3 milliseconds. So CPU will execute the process 3. Process 3 also will exit from execution. Okay, next CPU will be allocated for the process 5. Okay, process 5 already executed 2 milliseconds, and it now if it executes this 1 millisecond, process 5 also completes its execution and it will exit. Okay, now at the tail of the ready queue we have only process 1. Okay, so CPU will execute the process 1 for 1 millisecond. After that again there is no processors are waiting in the ready queue. CPU will be again allocated to the process 1 only. Okay, next another 1 millisecond process 1 will be executed by the CPU. By this time process 1 completes its burst time. Process 1 also exit from the execution. Okay, at clock time 16 milliseconds CPU will execute all the processes. Okay, now we need to find the waiting time. How to find the waiting time? Waiting time is allotted time minus its arrival time. What is the allotted time for the process 1? Process 1's allotted time is 0 milliseconds minus its arrival time is 0 milliseconds. 0 minus 0 is 0 milliseconds. 0 milliseconds plus what is the last allotted time of process 1? Process 1's last allotted CPU time is 14 milliseconds minus its previous preempted time, that is 12 milliseconds. 14 minus 12 plus and its previous allotted time, that is 11 minus its previous preempted time, that is 8. Okay, 11 minus 8 plus 7 minus 3. Okay, this is the total waiting time for the process 1. 0 plus 14 minus 12 plus 11 minus 8 plus 7 minus 3. That is 9 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 1. Okay, next for process 2. Process 2's allotted time is 3 milliseconds. What is the process 2's arrival is 3 milliseconds. 3 minus 3, it is 0 milliseconds plus when is the last allotted time for process 2? Process 2's last allotment time is at 8 milliseconds. So 8 minus its previous preempted time, that is 4 milliseconds. 8 minus 4, it is 4 milliseconds is the 0 plus 8 minus 4 is the waiting time for process 2, that is 4 milliseconds. Next process 3's. Process 3's allotted time is 4 milliseconds minus its arrival time is 4 milliseconds. 4 minus 4, it is 0 milliseconds plus its process 3's last allotted time. Process 3's last allotted time is 12 milliseconds minus its previous preempted time, that is 10 milliseconds plus previous to that allotted time, that is 9 milliseconds, minus its previous preempted time, that is 5 milliseconds. 12 minus 12 minus 10 minus 12 minus 10 plus 9 minus 5 is the total waiting time of process 3. 0 plus 12 minus 10 plus 9 minus 5, that is 6 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 3. Okay. Next, for process 4. Process 4 allotted time is 5 milliseconds. Okay. And its arrival time is 5 milliseconds. 5 minus 5, it is 0. Okay. 0 is the waiting time for the process 4. It is 5 minus 5, it is 0. Okay. 5 minus 5, it is 0. Okay. Process 4 not been allotted again. Okay. So allotted time minus its arrival time. Arrival time is 5, allotted time is 5. 5 minus 5, it is 0 is the waiting time for process 4. It is 0. Okay. Next, process 5. Process 5's allotted time is 6 milliseconds minus its arrival time. Process 5's arrival time is 5 milliseconds. Okay, that is 6 milliseconds minus process 5 is 6 milliseconds minus 5 milliseconds, that is 1 millisecond. Okay, plus what is the last allotted time for the process 5? Process 5's last allotted time is 13 milliseconds. 13 milliseconds minus its previous exempted time. Okay, previous preempted time, that is 11 milliseconds. 13 minus 11 plus its previous allotted time, that is 10, minus its previous preempted time, that is 7. Okay, 13 minus 11 minus 13 13 minus 11 plus 10 minus 7. Okay, that is 13 minus 11 will get 2 milliseconds. 10 minus 7 will get 3 millisecond, plus 6 minus 5, that is 1 millisecond. Total will get 6 milliseconds is the waiting time for process 6. Okay, process 6 waiting time is 6 milliseconds. Okay, now if you know the waiting time, we know how to find the turnaround time. Turnaround time is burst time of the process plus waiting time of the process. Okay, process 1's burst time is how much? Process 1's burst time is 7 milliseconds and its waiting time is 9 milliseconds. 7 plus 9 is 16 milliseconds. Okay, process 2's burst time is 2 milliseconds and its waiting time is 4 milliseconds. 4 plus 2, 6 milliseconds. Next, process 3's burst time is 3 milliseconds and its waiting time is 6 milliseconds. 6 plus 3, 9 milliseconds is the turnaround time for process 3. Okay. Next, for process 4. Process 4 burst time is 1 millisecond plus its waiting time is 0. Okay. So, what is the turnaround time for process 4 is? It is 1 millisecond. Okay. Process 4's turnaround time is 1 millisecond. Next, process 5's burst time is 3 milliseconds plus its waiting time. Okay. What is the waiting time for process 5 is 6 milliseconds. 6 milliseconds plus 3 milliseconds. That is, it is 9 milliseconds is the total turnaround time for process 5. Okay, if you know the waiting time and if you know the turnaround time, we know how to find the average waiting time. That is, average waiting time is sum of all the processes waiting time divided by total number of process. That is 9 plus 4 plus 6 plus 0 plus 6 divided by 5. We will get average waiting time. Okay, please do calculate it what we will get. That is the average waiting time. Next, average turnaround time. That is sum of all the processes turnaround time divided by total number of processes. That is 16 plus 6 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9. Okay, that is the 9 divided by total number of process 5. We will get average turnaround time. That is the our average turnaround time. Like this, we need to solve the problem by using round robin scheduling algorithm.